going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way.
What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? It's Robe
and Meima,
and this is the Pierre Way Podcast.
Season 2.
We're back, everybody.
We back.
How's everybody doing?
Happy New Year, everyone. It's so great to be back.
I'm so excited to be back in this space.
Yeah, for sure.
We're back with the Pierre Way Podcast. Listen, God blessed it. So we're back for season
big ups to God.
2. Big ups to God.
Yeah.
Miss this space. We miss being here.
Yeah. Well, this is our couch in our home.
Right.
But this atmosphere, this setting is definitely almost like reminiscent, even though we were just here just a couple of months ago.
Right.
So
excited to see what God will do for this season, and so excited to share some new stuff. You guys had a lot to say about season 1.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to get back. So life update. What's been happening with the Pierres since season 1?
Listen, just trying to get back into our routines. We're in a new year. So, came off the holidays of all the fun, traveling, family, now just trying to get back in the swing of things.
I was so ready for the holidays to be over.
Yeah.
Not like I'm a Grinch or anything like that. But I was excited for the holidays to be over as it related to I just wanted to kind of get back into the normal.
Yeah, like our workout routines and like our schedules, with our kids, them getting back into their school routine. So it's definitely, it was tough. I think it's tough for everybody though, getting back into that routine. But now I feel like we're settled, we're doing good, and now we're fully in 2024.
I know, except, Christmas decorations still up.
Yeah. Who keeps their Christmas decorations up for more than 2 months?
Not us. I don't know.
Represent
2 months.
When do we usually put down our Christmas decorations?
Like
month. Give me the month.
Around February. Early February. We take it Valentine's Day does not come with us having Christmas
we've
decor.
definitely have had our Christmas decor up in March. We
have
had our Christmas decor up in March.
True.
We definitely have.
Not true.
I want you to know we have.
Y'all really gotta pray for my wife's memory.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It is not good.
We have had the Christmas tree up in March. I'm not saying that we're gonna have it up until March in this home.
We have not.
In this year, but we have. We Yeah, let us know how long you be keeping it up. Not on purpose. I don't think anybody leaves it up on purpose.
Some people do.
Oh, okay.
Some people just like it.
Oh. All right.
All right, y'all. So one of the biggest episode we had last season was our parenting episode. The parents came out and viral videos on TikTok, Instagram about just creative discipline.
Yeah.
So we thought to open up season 2, we would just dive into creative discipline and hear some of the things that you guys were saying on in the comments on all the social media platforms that we have. So you guys were really passionate about just parents. Well, there were 2 kinds of people that were in the comments.
Yeah.
There are people who were actually parents who were like, yo, thank you so much. One parent actually was like, yo, I'm going to use this and I'll come back in 2 days. And then he came back and he was like, yo, I used this on my son and it worked.
Yeah.
On just them slamming doors and stuff. That was what the video was about.
Yeah.
And there's another group of people who were the recipients of creative discipline. I think one girl was like, she got in punishment. And her dad took her phone off or Wi-Fi or whatever, and she hacked the Wi-Fi account and got back.
And he enrolled her cybersecurity classes.
He enrolled her in cybersecurity classes.
No, shout out to your father.
Listen, whoever that was, shout out to your dad for doing that. Was there
lit.
anybody that you remembered in specifically?
There was one parent who was I think her sons, I don't know how old they were fighting. And she was like, it was just too much. She put them out on the porch and she was like, no child of mine's gonna live in this home fighting. So y'all figure it out outside. And when I can be peaceful, then y'all can come in.
She said, I remember that the comment, she said, because y'all not about to be fighting in here and going out and fighting in the world too. I was like, all right, mother,
right.
You better.
Listen.
No, I appreciate the whole creative discipline conversation because I think right now, gentle parenting and just parenting methods are huge in our days.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to figure out the right way to parent. Ain't nobody got it perfect. There's so many books, but listen, no child is the same. No home is the same.
And you can never be ready. I think a lot of people, even before when we had children, it was like, for me, I was like, we got to get ready. We got to get ready to have kids. And I read everything. I researched everything. I watched everything. But then the child came and it was like, it's like everything goes out the window. You're just like, all right, well, I'm going to try to figure this out.
Every situation is unique. Like it's unique to who you are as a person, who you're married to, or if you're single, your job, your family makeup. Every situation is unique. And what I loved that episode did, it created community of parents who just were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So in the comments, people were like, oh, I'm going to use that. Oh, that's great. So I love that. And that's what the Pierres podcast is about, that we can all be learning together. We've only been parents for 7 years.
Yeah.
And so we're learning from other people and we're learning from each other. So it's great. And so we wanted to kind of keep the conversation going about parenting. So here's a huge question.
Okay.
Do y'all beat y'all kids?
Oh.
Okay. Like,
my goodness.
Are y'all, what?
We really gonna be talking about this?
We're gonna talk about it. Are y'all hitting your kids? I'll tell you where I stand, and we could have this conversation.
I just feel like it's important for us to set precedent.
Go ahead.
So, for people who may or may not be familiar, some people believe in disciplining their children by spanking them. And
you better be correct.
Well, I think it's because when anyone says beating your kids,
okay,
there's a lot there. Like, we are not condoning fist fighting your children.
Yes. Do y'all still spank your children? Are you guys spanking your children? That's the question.
Yeah. Some people call it pow pow.
Yeah, pow pow. Some people. Okay. Do you add physical force in any way, shape, or form? Whether it's through your hand, whether it's through a belt, whether it's through a ruler, whatever it is to your child.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I just say this? I think now we're in 2024 and there's all these different things and everybody wants to be politically correct or everybody wants to make sure they're not saying anything or doing anything. I'll share my personal story. I got beat as a kid.
Absolutely.
Like, absolute
Remember,
beat.
we're Caribbean, we're Haitian.
So that's my story. So, like, when I say beat with a belt, I got beat with the hand. I got beat with a ruler. I got beat with the hanger.
Oh, my God.
I got beat. I was a bad kid. Okay. And I'm not, so for where I'm at, I'm not angry at my mother for beating me. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the discipline that I needed to receive, it was like she needed to let me know, like, you can never do this again.
Yeah.
And I was out here doing crazy stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't get beat until like well into my teenage years, like young adulthood and stuff like that. But I got beat. And when we got married, and we were talking about our children, we made the decision to not beat our kids. And so that decision for us came from me personally. Simply, y'all, I was way too big to be beating anybody. That was just how I felt. I just felt like I like we got married. I was 6'1". I was over 300 pounds. I'm like, if my kids were like did something, and here they are, like even still now, like for me to lift my hand and hit my kid, I'm just like, I don't know if that is something that I don't feel right doing it.
Yeah, I remember when we talked about it when we first got married. So I also got beat growing up as a kid, if I misbehaved. So there was this thing at our house where we'd have to get on our knees in the corner.
Yes, à genoux.
Yes, you Haitians,
Haitians
à genoux. And that felt like the more torture than getting beat, if you ask me.
Oh,
the anticipation of like, man, when is he gonna
be
beat
on
me?
your
When are they
knees,
gonna
y'all.
beat me?
Be on your knees for like sometimes an hour.
Like it felt like forever you would be on your knees. Now some people have the whole like they were on their knees on rice and all that stuff too. Like that wasn't my story, but it would just be like go on your knees in the corner and we'd be on our knees.
Are we really rice?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know, but like I've heard people like they'd have to kneel on like rocks and like all this stuff, and I'm like, no, that wasn't me. First, for me, I like would have to like go kneel for like however long they thought, and then sometimes there was a conversation, or sometimes it was just boom, you got beat. And so I also will say I didn't get beat often. Like I wouldn't say I was like a misbehaved kid that I was always getting beat. However, like my parents definitely, for lack of better words, instilled fear in me of them when it came to my behavior.
But you know what? I do think it that was so important because the fear, it's a balance, because as a child, having fear of my parents definitely kept me from some things. Right. And then there's this other side. Even now, we try to balance it. Like, I want the kids to have a level of fear, like, nah, this is not good. But I also want them to have a level of understanding and a relationship that is somewhat organic enough where they can like, we can talk about some things.
Right.
And so balancing that can be like really tough.
It is, because I feel like that's what ended up happening to me as I got older. It was like I was so fearful of my behavior. It actually didn't cause me to like not misbehave, but instead, if I messed up, if I slipped up, if I did something that I knew was wrong, I then was scared to talk to my parents.
I know, and that's so tough because I like right now when like Robin, our 7-year-old, she comes home and she got in trouble in the classroom. She doesn't come in fear, but it's like we say, how was your day? And she's like, it wasn't a good day. This happened and that happened.
Right.
But then I want to make sure, like, girl, what you doing? Like acting up in class like that. Don't do that again. So balancing those two things can be like really hard, but we're seeing fruit of conversations.
No, absolutely. I think when it comes to Robin, who's our oldest, she's in first grade. I think we don't beat them, right? We don't beat our children. And so we're now seeing the space
we don't, go ahead.
We're seeing the space of having conversations with Robin being an area that I would say has grown much more deeper than when I was in first grade, for sure. Yeah. Like I wasn't having the type of conversations that I was having with Robin now with my parents when I was in first grade, when I was 7.
I don't remember.
So, at the end of the day, it's like, it's good that that's something that we've chosen to do. Now, with that said, I remember when we first talked about not beating our kids. And actually, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a disagreement between us because you were very like, we're not doing that. And I was like, kids warrant getting a little pow-pow sometimes.
Right.
And so, I think
I've grown out of that. Like I've seen you give like pow-pows and it's not like beating.
No, a pow-pow for us is just like a tap on the hand. Like
that don't do nothing to RJ. I'm telling you that right now. That boy.
Yeah.
I be seeing people pop out RJ. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Listen, when it comes to the no beating, like my girls, and y'all can judge me if y'all want. I'm not going to beat my girls or do anything or like rough him up. But when it comes to RJ, listen, I was roughing that kid up since he was 1. Like, it's like tantrums, like, nah, Negro, get up, get off the floor. I'll snatch you up. And, I feel like for me, like with a boy, I can be a little bit more rougher. I think just that.
That's what I've heard a lot of people say to me. Because I grew up in a house, I didn't have any boys. The only boy was my dad. I grew up with all sisters. So when RJ was born and he was growing up and he started, being like a toddler, like having an attitude and everything, a lot of people would see me and they would talk to me. Like, and not necessarily moms, but men, fathers and dads would like be like, hey, like just this week actually, like I was somewhere and there was an older dad who was talking to me, and he was like, he has the same situation. He has 2 daughters and a son. And he's like, you got to understand, like, boys are just a little bit different, like, as it relates to, like, they may not necessarily be able to sit still the way that, like, your girls did when they were younger. And so he may be hyperactive, and he may be, like, really, like, rah! And, like, you can't, like, make him not do that. Right. You got to give him space to be expressive. He's just different. Right. And I think, and him even just saying that for me was like, oh, okay, cool. So, like, I can learn to be a little bit more patient with RJ. Like if he's like running around, like I shouldn't be like, stop running around. But like, okay, like, he's different. Every child is different. So you give them space to be able to just be themselves and not result to like anger.
anger.
Yeah.
Like disciplining a child out of anger. Like I think there are some times like I joke around it with my mom right now, and I'm like, listen, there are some times, I was bad, but you was just angry. You was mad. You was getting I was getting beat because you were like angry. And there's the classic joke where parents are beating you and they're like, I'm not beating you because I'm mad. I'm beating you so you can learn. I'm like, nah, you're upset. You're upset that I broke that. You're upset that I didn't listen.
And that's where it's wrong.
You're upset. It's just like that. Beating a kid out of anger, I think it's that's not
cool.
That's not it.
That's not it
at all.
And that's why it's important for us as parents when we are in the heat of a moment that we have to make ourselves step back and like think for a second. I find myself doing that actually a lot with RJ. RJ's 2. He'll be 3 later this year in a couple months, and yeah, I mean, he's a toddler. He be pushing the limit. And like my natural reaction sometimes is to be like, what is wrong with you? But then I'm like, you know what, Meima? Like, sit back. He doesn't know. He has to be taught.
Yeah.
So like I have to be able to be just a little bit more patient. I have to show him what is wrong.
Right.
And of course, if he does it again and again and again, then like, all right, listen, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah. We both have very different parenting methods.
Oh yeah, we are.
Because as she's talking, it's like, so in our house, I think for each child, there is a dynamic in the relationship. Like RJ fears me. RJ, this morning.
Oh, you were like RJ. He was like, yeah.
So it's like RJ and his mom are very close. That is a mama's boy.
He's a mama's boy.
And I love that. I'm a mama's boy too. So I love that they have that relationship. But as soon as I started to notice that that's how that relationship was developed, she has such a sweet spot for that boy.
Okay.
She has she has a very...
No, I be standing my ground. I be holding my own.
Barely.
I am not a pushover.
She has such a sweet spot for that boy. She loves that boy. I mean, we're going to talk this season about RJ's story so you can kind of understand where that comes from. But I realized earlier on, man, that boy's going to have a parent that he fears real bad because he loves his mom. And whenever he comes, mommy, and comes on her and hugs her, she melts and everything. She's like, oh, my baby, I love you so much. She melts. And it's beautiful. I love it. And I have part of that relationship with RJ too. Like, put him to bed, hugs me, tell him I love him, all these different things. We talk, all that. But I realized, like, there has to be, like, this, one of us have to kind of be that parent at a time. So even this morning while he was getting ready for school, he was just out here, you and him going back and forth. I'm upstairs. I just have to call his name once.
Literally one time. And he literally...
I'm like, RJ. And I didn't even know what was going on. I just know he was turning up. And it was like, I think one of the things my mom taught me when we used to talk about the way she used to discipline us, she said, listen, as a child, as a parent, your child has to have someone that they fear. Like, fear has to be an aspect of it. Not fear where they can't have honest conversation. You have to establish honest conversation. Yeah. However, they got to know, like, no, this can't go down in my house. I fear bringing this up. I fear doing that in my house for what we've kind of done. And I think that's that. But with the girls, it's almost like the opposite.
It's the opposite. No, it is, Roberson, because sometimes I literally be like, what is up with you? And remember, I grew up in a house with mostly women.
Right.
So I know how to navigate the girls. Like, that's my bread and butter. It's like, hey, like, get it together, girls. Like, da-da-da-da. But you're very, like, the girls know to go to you. Like, sometimes, like, I stop them. I will, like, scold them. And then they'll be, like, trying to, like run over to you. And I'm like, hey, you're not going to your father. Because then it's going to flip on its head. And I'm like, no, you need to listen. But I think also that's beautiful. Is that they're daddy's girls. And, they want to be cuddled up and nestled up under their father. And the same way that I am with RJ, that you feel like I am, is the same way that you can be with them as well. Yeah. And I also can have a sweet spot for them, too. It's not like, I'm like... mean to them all the time.
Ultimately, the goal when it comes to discipline is to just raise respectable children.
And that is the biggest thing that I have been telling myself and really wanting to make known is, like, at the end of the day, guys, we need to learn how to be respectful. Like, you guys are going to respect your parents. Yeah. You're going to respect your teachers, your coaches, your mentors, your pastors, leaders. Like, you're going to respect other people, like your peers. And when you start towing lines of disrespect, I think that's when, doesn't matter who you are. That's when I start being like, hey, like you're not going to be disrespectful anywhere. Ain't nobody going to call me and tell me you were being disrespectful in any space at all.
And I think with any type of discipline that we give, it's to enforce that our kids are obedient, respectful, and that we're raising compassionate children.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's been like really great, because teaching children how to navigate with one another, it is huge. Like having respect for their peers, their siblings.
Yeah. I know that's the sibling. Y'all pray for us.
The sibling discipline vibes is great. And some of y'all, like I've seen in the comments, some of you guys like, yo, you put them in a shirt and you have them hug for like an hour if they're fighting.
I know somebody who did that.
I think it was Todd Delaney who posted a video of his sons that were fighting, and he made them sing for like an hour. Yeah. Like, we're brothers, we're happy, and we're singing and we're colored. Give me a high five. And they kept doing that. That one was great.
Yeah, I know, that was hilarious.
That one was great. Like the other day, Jamie and Robin were just going back and forth at it. They're sisters. They're like 2 years apart. Mm-hmm. And I literally made them stand and hug each other. Like, I was just like, y'all just going to stand right here and hug each other and tell each other that you love you.
They were so over it.
They were so over it. And then they were rolling their eyes and turning them up. No, stare at each other. You're going to stand here and stare at each other. Yeah. Now tell each other that you say, I love you. And they were repeating after me. I was like, I love you. You're my sister. I got your back. I will pray for you. I will respect you. And they just kept repeating them, just like stare at each other so y'all can know for real. Yeah. And if y'all keep acting up against each other, we're just going to keep doing this again.
You know, that's so interesting as you're saying that. So something that we have is peer affirmations. We have family affirmations. I won't say, basically our affirmations are, we are the Pierres. We are kind, respectful, smart, confident. We're healthy and brave. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Yes. We are handsome and beautiful. We have fun. We're patient, prayer warriors. We love Jesus. And we are determined to follow his plan for our life.
Oh, yeah.
Period. Our kid, literally, even RJ knows it. You got to make sure you get to... You got to memorize it, Dad.
We just wrote it this year.
Okay.
And they are done. I mean, I pretty much wrote it.
I was going to say, you kind of wrote it, so you should.
But you do it every morning at drop off. So that's why I don't know. Don't be looking at me like I'm a bad parent because I don't know the peer affirmations.
It's okay. Either way. We have our peer affirmations. And recently there was a time where the girls were acting up. And they weren't being kind to one another. And so what I found has been really helpful, and it's creative because it's different, is obviously after like talking to them and letting them know what they did wasn't right, is being like, and remember our peer affirmations. We are the Pierres. We are kind. We are respectful. We are smart. We are confident. And I remind them that like we say that every day because it's true. And we want to make sure that in moments where, you know, we maybe hit a blimp or we're being disrespectful, we remember, well, that's not who the Pierres are. Like the Pierres are respectful. They're kind. I find that when you can give something tangible for the kids to hold on to remember who they are, whether it's an affirmation, whether it's the word of God, then it really sticks with them.
Remember who you are.
It really sticks with them. And they're able to, I find that when I say that, then they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and they put two and two together.
Yeah.
And that happens with scripture too.
Yeah.
So like, you know, we do scripture memorization with the kids so they know Psalm 23, Psalm 24. And especially when it comes to fear, we quoted, like that has happened with Jamie. I'm like, okay, what does Psalm 23 say? You know, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we'll fear no evil. So when she's scared of something, I'm like, you know, just say that. Yeah. So just giving them tools,
right?
And them realizing, oh, this is wrong because X, Y, and Z. Like when we say this is not who you are, this is wrong. Because I think that's really, really important. Yeah. For all of them to kind of be able to put two and two together. Yeah. But you know, discipline is not an easy thing.
It's tough. It's tough.
You know, I think everybody does it their own way. Yeah. Like I hear all about the gentle parenting stuff.
I was gonna say, what do you think about gentle parenting?
I think
because here's the thing for me. I love the idea of gentle parenting. Yeah. Right? I love the intention around gentle parenting. Unfortunately, I've witnessed people gentle parent and something like literally at the kids' school. That's what I'm thinking about. Like at the kids' school one time, like a parent, toddler, like lashing out, and she's like, "Honey, let's just breathe." And the kid literally was like, "Wah!" and like ran away. And I was like, honestly, you need help, sis? Because I can step in and help you.
Oh, God.
Because I was like, nah, that's not going to fly.
Yeah.
So I think there are moments where like, I love what gentle parenting is meant to do, but in practice, maybe it's just me. Maybe I got to grow.
That's exactly
tough.
what I was going to say. I think there are aspects of gentle parenting that we've definitely incorporated in our home.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just if I'm being honest, this week, you know, there was one of our children had a situation at school, and I came down on them really hard.
Yeah.
It was not a gentle parenting thing. I came down on them hard because we've had this conversation multiple times,
Right,
over the course of months, and the fact that it was still happening was problematic. So I had to come down hard on it to let them know that this was not okay.
Yeah.
Now, when it was time to go to bed, I was like, okay, well, you came down, you laid the law. Now, if we can kind of have a moment together. So when it was time for me to put them to bed, I had to have that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and just say, so how do you feel?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts? How did that make you feel? Like, hear them out.
Mm-hmm.
So with gentle parenting, I think it's a balance.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all. I can't completely give my allegiance to one form of parenting. Because I think there are good aspects of different things. Like I say, I'm not gonna beat my child. And I don't plan on beating my child, and there's no way. But before we had kids, I wasn't planning on roughing up RJ the way sometimes if he's acting up, like I have to like pull that boy up, bring him up to my face and be like, I'm not messing with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got to do that, and it's all love. And so I think that's like one of the things that's important.
Yeah.
So I pull different things. I pull things from the way my mom raised me. We pull things from the way your parents raised you. We pull from gentle parenting and all these different things. But for me to say, yo, we gentle parent, I can't say that.
Yeah, I don't
but I do think
there's
there's aspects of it that are really healthy.
Yeah.
That I'm like, man, if I had that growing up, it would have made some of the rough moments. Because after getting beat and all these different things,
then you got to sit at the table.
Then you got to sit at a table, or you got to go to church and act like you love your mama and acting like, you know, your mom's great.
And that's not me. It was like you just beat me and you're going to be praising God.
You're going to be praising God. Like you just roughed me up in the car. And then here you are leading worship. Like, I think, you know, if there was some gentle parenting aspect of that would help. And I think one of the things is like one of the last things we close with is that has helped, that you've helped me with a lot with this, is like, do we apologize to our kids?
Yeah, I think
like
that's very healthy.
Like right now, it's a huge thing. Is like growing up for me, my mama was not saying sorry to me.
My parents didn't do that either.
You know, I think sorry to me was like, she gonna cook my favorite meal.
It's an apology without saying the apology.
Right, after getting beat, be like, oh, we go, yo, you want to go to the movies? Or like, it's one of those things. I never verbally physically heard my parents say sorry.
Right.
Even though there was reasons. And for you, one of the things that you've helped us establish in our homes is be like, okay, daddy, what do you say? I remember there was a time, I don't know, it was clear I was wrong. And you were trying to mediate this conversation between me and the girls, and I was not apologizing.
You were not trying to apologize.
I was not trying. Why is that so important?
I think it's important because our kids have to know that we are also not perfect. And that, like, the same way they make mistakes, we also make mistakes.
Ooh.
And the same way that, like, they can see us apologize to one another as husband and wife, they can also expect apologies when we are sometimes wrong, because sometimes we are wrong, whether it's through a way that we discipline or whether it's we assume that they did something wrong and it wasn't true. And I think that, like, saying sorry does something to someone. Like, I think there's a healing portion to sorry. And I know we talked about this in previous episodes last season. But
as it relates to a parent and a child, that's different.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that, like, if I say sorry to Jamie for something that I know that I was wrong in, she's able to look at me in like almost can look up to me a little bit more. Like, you know, like, I think
I find
really
that
important.
it's easier for them to say sorry when they've witnessed you say sorry.
And that's probably
And a lot of
very
times
true.
we ask kids to apologize all the time. Say sorry. But they don't see it modeled. And I think when we are able to apologize to them, then they'll be like that. But my kids know that's tough for me. It's tough for me because I didn't grow up with parents apologizing to their children. So they know it's tough for me. So when it's time for me to apologize, they all like, okay, daddy, you got to say sorry right now.
Yeah, what do you say?
You got to like all of that. And I think that's great. And I know it's not really the old school way of parenting, but we would definitely recommend, you know, if you're in the wrong, if you did something, like there are times where I will start yelling at them and I had the wrong information.
Right.
Or I'll start going down and have the wrong information. And when I got the right information, I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I thought this one thing. And I think, you know, that's healthy. I don't know if our grandmamas would do it. I don't know if our mothers would be down for it.
My mom would. I could not see my mother saying sorry
next
to me
time,
or my kids.
Next time we're with your parents, I'll be like, Mom, what do you think you should have said sorry for?
I can maybe see my dad saying sorry, but my mom would be like, get over it. She's like, whatever.
Get over it. No, and you know what sometimes parents do? They'll be like, what you mean I got to say sorry? Don't you know all that I do for you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're not the same thing.
It's not the same conversation,
It's not the same conversation. You could be a good parent. You can work hard. You can sacrifice. And you can also be wrong in a situation that you can have to apologize for. Like hard work and sacrifice as a parent does not take away from the need of an apology when you are in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the things for us to realize that's important.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the Pierre way.
We're
figuring it out, y'all. We always say we are not experts in the parenting field at all. We still freshly in. We're learning it. And our kids are now getting into different spaces and phases of their lives, where now we're shifting our parenting a bit to kind of model what they're going through or what they experience in life. And so, you know, we're just every single day.
Yeah, the Pierre way to discipline is to make sure that whatever you do is teaching your kids to be respectful. Yeah. And also it's honoring your child. Yeah. Honoring them in the process. Making sure that you're not shaming them in the process, but you're teaching them in the process. Yeah. And that we're learning together. I love this parenting community that we have in the Pierre Way, and we would love to hear your thoughts on this as you guys parent, as you guys go through different seasons with your children, and we'll continue to do it.
For sure.
Love you, family. And this was episode 1 of season 2. We're back and we're so excited. So if y'all know the deal, if y'all haven't yet, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. And you could listen to anywhere where podcasts are streamed. Yeah, and if you're newly tuning in, if this is your first time watching us, please check out our last season, but also join us in the future episodes that we have for this season. We're excited for you to join this community, to join the Pierre Way clan. The Pierre Way clan is bad. Let's not use that again. Okay, bad. Sorry. The Pierre Way clan. Oh, wait, how about the Pierre Way family? Sure. Okay. Love you, family. We'll see you for the next episode. Listen, keep moving forward, y'all. It's time to go onwards and upwards. Peace. Hey.
We're going up. We're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way.